Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to Terminally Nerdy's Indie Impressions, the show where I take a look at independent and non-AAA games, as well as niche titles, giving you my quick first impressions after at least 2 hours of playtime, because if that's good enough for pretty much every refund policy in every digital storefront, it's good enough for me to make a decision if the game is decent or not. And today, I'm going to be looking at what the developers call a emotional survival simulator, NeoCab, which is really, it's a cyberpunk cab management game with a visual novel mixed in. It's not really an emotional survival simulator thing. It's kind of pretentious if you ask me, to be perfectly honest. However, this game is honestly really interesting. So, let's start by discussing what it is. This game's basic premise is a visual novel. You'll be going through dialogue, you'll be making decisions on what your character will and will not say. Those decisions are influenced by your emotional state. This game's emotional simulation or emotional survival aspect is specifically your emotional state. Very early on you will get a device that will show you, color-wise, like on the little four-sectioned wheel in the lower left corner, what your emotional state is. Red is angry, green is chill happy, yellow is excited happy, and blue is sad. And you'll be discussing things with fares that you pick up and characters that you meet. And sometimes you won't be able to select things because of your emotional state, and sometimes you will get extra dialogue options because of your emotional state. Thankfully, it's very clear when this happens. You'll try to click on the choice, it'll actually red it out, because you're too sad or too angry and you won't be able to pick it. Other times you'll get an asterisk with a color in it that says, hey, you can pick this because you're extra happy right now. Outside of the visual novel aspect of it, you will also be responsible for managing your money, as well as deciding which fares to take, places that you're going to sleep, which will come up at the end of night one, and how much gas you got in your car, basically. It's very light on those management aspects, but it is important because you will run into instances where people might ask you for money, might ask you for free rides. At one point I got stopped by the cops and had to pay a ticket. So you need to make sure you have money, and you need to make sure that you have gas in your car, because I'm fairly certain if you run out of gas, or in this case electrical energy because it's cyberpunk, the game would probably end. I'm not sure you can go into debt. Further, you have to manage your rating. If you go below 4 stars and don't get it above 4 stars, the game, as far as I can tell, would probably be over because your NeoCab, the thing that you're driving, requires you to stay above a 4-star rating. And that rating is controlled by how well you converse with your drivers and kind of play into what they're interested in. It's actually an interesting little system. And when I first booted up the game, that's all I thought it was. Based on the way the game starts, up until the end of night one, the game plays out and shows you that aspect of it. You basically pick up a fare on your way into your town, you then meet your friend who you're going to be staying with, you then do another fare, you have a kind of a cutscene situation, you do another fare, and then the end of night one happens, and something takes place, and it completely changed how the story was presented to me. I actually did not expect it. The basic story of this game is you are Lina, one of the last few NeoCab drivers. You see, in this cyberpunk future, self-driving cars are now a thing. They're owned by a company called Capra. Lina clearly hates Capra. She is moving into a new town called Los Ogias? It's L.O. Everyone calls it L.O. I'm going to call it L.O. because I can't pronounce the word. It's not my thing. She has been invited to move into this town with an old roommate of hers named Savvy. She and Savvy had a sort of falling out about 6 months to a year prior to the events of the game, and she has felt horrible ever since, and Savvy contacted her out of the blue and invited her to come live there, work there, and be her roommate. And that's the basic premise of the game, and when it presented that story to me, I figured what I was in for was very much interpersonal relationships. I was going to be dealing with the fallout of the Savvy fight, and probably trying to sort that out, and I'd be dealing with learning about the people around me. However, again, the end of night one occurs, and all of a sudden I've got a mystery to solve. It's wild. I'm probably pretty close to the end of the game now. It seems very short. I've played for about 2.5-3 hours, and it feels like I'm getting to the end. I've made it to night 5. And the way things are progressing through that mystery, which I don't want to spoil, there might be some small visual spoils here, so be warned. But I don't think I've got much left to go. And I've enjoyed my time with it. One of the big things is decision making. Which fairs you take will dictate the things you learn, the people you meet, and certain events, it seems, later on down the road. A couple things the game does not explain to you. Time does not move until you pick up a fare. You will basically each night be given the objective of doing at least 2 fares. You can do up to 3. And you will have a money goal, which is usually 35 coins. You will then be put on a map. On that map, you can visit charging stations. You can pick up your fares. And if you've unlocked them, you can visit a clinic and a club. Visiting a charging station, clinic, or club will not advance the night. Only picking a fare will advance the night. Okay? Now, sound design wise, the music is very ambient. I like it. It's very synthy techno kind of stuff. It plays correctly. Like when it gets kind of tense, you get more of a tense music. When it's kind of just driving, it has like this nice ambient sound. There is no voice acting. You're going to be reading everything. Get ready for that. Thankfully, in the options, there is a reading speed option because text auto advances, although you can left click to just zip through it if you're faster than the text. I use the left click because the text speeds that are available to me are either too slow or too fast. There was nothing right for my speed. Visually, I really like it. So this is a visual novel, and traditionally visual novels are 2D characters over 2D backgrounds with a single dialogue box at the bottom. This gets rid of all of that. The dialogue boxes will appear almost like a comic book, with complete with the little line showing who's talking. Internal thoughts will be at the bottom. As well, so anything Lina's thinking will be at the bottom. The characters are animated, and they're kind of like a 2.5D model. So their faces change, they shift around in the car, their bodies thing, and the camera is much more dynamic. So the camera might be looking straight through the back from the front windshield, and then it'll zoom in on the character in the back, spin over, and you'll be seeing the character in the rearview mirror plus what's going on outside. And the backgrounds are not static. The city moves around you as you drive. When Lina makes a turn, you will see the background shift as if she's making a turn. Sometimes even the camera will zoom out and show her driving her car through the city. And everything is very clean and clear and very much futuristic. This does feel like a kind of clean, scrubbed city overall. I definitely like this game, and I'm probably actually going to finish it, to be perfectly honest, just because I'm interested to see where the story is going. It's fascinating to me, and there's a lot going on here. It is currently $12 on Steam, on sale for its release. It's normally going to be $15. You can also get it on Switch, and I do think it's worth it. Absolutely worth it if you're into the visual novel genre and into cyberpunk stories. If not, don't bother, because this really, you're just reading a book and making decisions. That's what you're doing here, and some light money management. As always, if you like what I'm doing, feel free to hit that like button. Please leave a comment. Did you play Neocab? Who was your favorite character? Mine is the Painworm guy. He's the one right at the beginning of this. He is hilarious to me, although I'm very upset that he did not give me 5 stars on my last ride with him. But all hail the Painworm. Painworm. And, you can visit me on terminallynerdy.com for more of these videos, all that stuff. My writings are up there. You can follow me on Twitter, terminallynerdy. Find me on Patreon, patreon.com/terminallynerdy. Hell, if you go to Google and hit Terminally Nerdy, you'll find me. I want to thank as well the developers and the folks over at Terminals for providing me a key for the purposes of this video. This was, a key. Gotta get my disclosure in there. But as always, everybody, thanks for watching, and please remember, treat each other kindly and stay nerdy. Have a great one.